The Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show.
Boss in the Sauce Show. Here we go.
Virginia Tech and OD. So this is a difficult one right here, Big Ragoo, because we kind of looked at OD as a low down dirty dog last year, but in all actuality, I believe they won 6 in a row.
They reeled off a bunch. Like they lost a bunch early. I think they lost like 6 out of 7 early, and then they reeled off a bunch of W's.
Yeah, they end off with 5 wins in a row towards the end of the season, and they made it to a bowl game, but they ended up losing. So OD's a tricky team right now, and one of the crazy parts about them is they didn't play in 2020 because of the COVID, and that could be, excuse for lack of better words for for last year and what they did. So as far as the camaraderie, it looks like they're trying to pull the troops together in this one, more or less. So I think that they have a good upside to them overall. So they're dealing with second-year coach Ricky Rain. He went 6 and 7 last year. On the offensive side of things, he has 11 returning on offense. He has 6 returning on defense. The offensive line returns 4, lots of experience. The running backs are loaded with talent. They even got a Notre Dame transfer. The wide receivers are decent as well. On the defensive side of things, like I said, they're returning 6. The defensive line is the most experienced unit. They're saying that they're gonna they're solid in the front 7. Basically, they're saying the linebackers was hit with a lot of losses last year, but they get 1 returner, and he's a senior, Ryan Henry. He's expected to be the leadership on the linebacker crew. And at the secondary, they're led by a senior as well, Terrarium Johnson. He has very, very good talent, and he's a leader as well. So I think on defense, they grouping something together, and they look really good on offense. Now let's take a look at Virginia Tech. Brent Pry, first-year coach right here. Mm-hmm. What else can we say? He was the defensive coordinator at Penn State, who we just talked about. Right. And he has some Virginia Tech ties that go way back to the 90s. We talked about that in some of the previews. I don't like this old alumni favorism. Let's get the best man for the job. Let's stop trying to see how calculated he is to the alumni or the school or whatever. This guy had been away from there since the 90s. I don't think it even makes a big difference when it comes to the play on the field. But anyways, they're changing to a run-first offense with offensive coordinator Terry Bowden. He's an NFL-style guy, and he's expected to be the type that can manage a game and, pace things out, NFL style. And they also return 5 on offense, 7 on defense. At quarterback, they have 2 transfers, but Grant Wells from Marshall looks like he's leading the pack right now. At offensive line, they lack depth and experience. They add offensive line coach from Wisconsin to help because that was a big area that hurt them last year was the offensive line. The running backs are going to be by committee, and the wide receiver is going to be the best unit with loaded depth on the field. So if the quarterback situation pans out for them, they do have the wide receivers to make it happen. So on defense, major questions at the defensive line, a lack of depth and talent. The linebackers are the best unit. They return 2, they add 2, and this is a prize specialty anyway. He's a linebacker coach anyway. So this is an area that he should be able to pick them up from. And in the secondary, there's lots of experience, good depth, and also says they're going to have to adjust to price scheme coming into it. So really a lot of moving parts, I would say, on Virginia Tech. You got offensive coordinators in, coaches coming in. You got new coaching system, brand new coach. That's also things to get fired up about too. So don't have me out here saying that this is a key way always to happen. But for the most part, it don't look good to me with so many moving parts and all that kind of stuff. And then OD, on the other hand, kind of looks like a team we never seen before. I think they have a a high ceiling. And I think ring a ding ding, this could be the upset of the day right here. But I'm just gonna take Old Dominion plus the 8.5.
Yeah, I don't. You won't have an argument from me on that. I'm going to touch on the Virginia Tech side first. 6-7, right? Last year, 4-4, and as that season went, when Justin Fuentes was there for like 6 years, they just kind of meandered their way through. He was supposed to bring in this high power offensive scheme for do all this shit, and it never panned out for them while he was there, and that's hence we got the new coach. 6 years later, I thought he hung in there longer than probably he should have, but I thought he should have left the year before. But the COVID thing, like we talked about that, COVID saved some guys' jobs a year before too, so they got a little bit of a pass on there. But yeah, they're going to have a whole new scheme here with this. They were almost dead last in conference and nationally on offense in a lot of categories. We were talking like high 120s. We're in 130 teams, so there's a lot of struggles. A lot of struggles here for the offense on this team. That was their demise. And you did say Grant Wells coming over from Marshall. I don't know if he's going to inject that type of I wouldn't call it enthusiasm, but spunk to kind of pick this offense up and let it go. So, and then on both sides, there's a lot of holes to fill across the board for this team. So this is going to be like a fade opportunity. I'm going to be looking for fade opportunities against this team going forward. And OD, like you said, it's a team that, didn't have a program up until 2014. And a couple years later, they got involved and they were playing Conference USA. Now they made the shift this year to Sun Belt. So they'll play a whole different schedule this year. I think it kind of suits them a little bit better, even though Conference USA is not, setting the world on fire. I think Sun Belt kind of fits their scheme just a little bit better, just a tad, where they need to be. So they'll have some opportunities. And they did start off real slow. They lost 6 out of 7 games. I think they beat like a real small school, like an FCF type school early on. And then they reeled off, 5 quality wins. And then they lost their bowl game, going away. But all in all, you got to say it's a good year for them, stepping up and picking up that string of wins. And it's funny because every time they won, when they lost their games, if you go back and look at ATS numbers on this team, when they lost, they didn't cover. But when they won, they covered. I'm not saying they were an underdog in every game that they won, but in some cases they were underdogs and they outright winners, So if you bet this team on the money line, you probably made money last year, because you're probably getting plus money every time they played, more than likely. But I like them. I like the spot here. I haven't made a decision to play it yet, but I'd have to look almost like an overlay with that number 8.5 points on the road for Virginia Tech. A lot of question marks, so we'll see. That's my look on this game here. I think OD is live.
Yeah, I think OD is live too, and I lean under in that one too. I think OD can probably stuff them and put them away, and we'll be looking at Virginia Tech way different when it's time for them to play Virginia or one of their rival games. It's going to be something totally different.
Yeah, a couple weeks down the road, I think they played Virginia Tech. I think they played West Virginia or Virginia, whoever it is, a couple weeks down the road.
Yep.
Yeah, let me see.
That's it for that one, man. Shout out to our chat, man.
West Virginia. They played Boston College after Old Dominion. Then they play Wofford, and then they play West Virginia.
Oh, that's going to be interesting right there. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But we're going to give a quick shout out to the chat, man. We got a lot of our guys in there with a lot of input. My man Marlon, my man Jimmy Gomez is dropping the ATM on every team. He can't find the one for ODU though, but it's somewhere in there. We got the Woo RZA in here. It's Nizzle was in here earlier, and we also got my guy Marley from Brothers and Bets.
I see Marley shouting out the SEC boss with the smile, with the laughing face. We know what that's all about. I seen that show, brother.
Oh yeah, y'all got to go check that out. The SEC, that insider right there is something to go check out.